You're listening to the Culips English podcast. To download the study guide for this episode, which includes the transcript, detailed vocabulary explanations, real-world examples, and a quiz, visit our website, culips.com. CULIPS.com. Hey everybody, my name is Andrew.
And I'm Suzanne.
And you're listening to Culips. Hello, Suzanne.
Hey, Andrew. How's it going?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be back with another Catchwords episode. It's been a really long time since we've released a Catchword episode, hasn't it?
It has. I know. And I feel like our slang brain kind of was turned off. So we need to get back into our game.
We need to slang that slang. I'm sorry.
That's funny.
For all of our listeners who don't know, Catchword is our series about vocabulary, where we teach you interesting expressions, useful slang, all of the words and phrases, and sometimes even phrasal verbs, anything related to vocabulary that you need to know if you really want to understand English like a native speaker. And the theme for today is creativity and focus. So we're going to introduce and teach you two expressions that you can use when you're talking about creativity or focusing or working hard. But just before we talk about these expressions in more detail, I would like to tell everyone that there is a study guide for this episode. It includes a lot of really awesome study materials that you can use to study along with us here today, such as a transcript, detailed vocabulary explanations and examples, as well as a quiz, and there's also some prompts that you can use for writing practice or speaking practice. The study guide is a really valuable resource, we believe, and you can download it from our website, culips.com. So if you are interested in studying along with us a little deeper here today, then just visit our website to download that study guide. Okay, so Suzanne, let's get into it.
Yes.
Let's get into the zone. How about that?
How about that? Yes. We're totally getting into the zone right now.
Getting into the zone. So, let's think about this for a second. In this expression, to get into the zone, what is the zone? What are we getting into here when we're talking about the zone?
That's a really good question. So the zone is kind of the space or the headspace in which you're creating something or working on something, right? Like there's so many distractions, right? We have like the internet and Facebook and Twitter and everything and friends and procrastination. So when we have a project or a goal and we kind of get focused, right? We kind of get into the headspace of being focused on a task. We're getting into the zone. And that usually has to do with the creativity, kind of like we're putting on our thinking cap. We're really focusing our energy into this task.
Yeah, I totally agree. For me, when I think of the zone, I think of it as being focus or concentration on a task. So when we say this expression, I want to get into the zone, or even maybe you are already in the zone, you are focusing and concentrating on a task very well. it just means that you're working well, right? You're focused and you're not distracted at all.
Absolutely. And I also think, Andrew, I've heard this expression used in motivation, like for even like sports teams or, maybe at halftime or something like that, or, before the second or third period in hockey or, in soccer, they might have a meeting, all the players kind of huddle up and they're like, all right, let's get into the zone. Let's really focus. Let's, do our plays. And it's a kind of sometimes a form of riling up the troops and really getting everyone together in the same zone, the same goal, fixed into the same focus. So, yeah, I think it can also be used in a kind of physical, sporting way, maybe if you go running or something. All right, let's get into the zone. Let's focus.
In fact, sometimes I will tell my friends when we're working on a project or even when I go running with my buddies, like, wow, let's get into the zone, let's try our best. It's totally common to use it like that. You're right. Suzanne, before we flow away too far here, I think we should give some examples with in the zone.
That sounds great. How was your weekend? Wait, didn't you have a race on Sunday?
Yeah, I had a 10K race on Sunday, but it didn't really go very well, actually.
Oh no, what happened?
I don't know. I didn't sleep well on Saturday night, and I just felt sluggish the whole race. I just couldn't get into the zone.
Yeah, man, that stinks. Well, better luck next time.
In the example that we just heard, two friends were talking about a race that one of the friends had participated in on the weekend. And his result wasn't very good. He wasn't pleased with his result. Why? Well, he said that he felt sluggish. Sluggish, of course, means that you're tired and you just don't have very much energy. So he felt sluggish, and he said that he just couldn't get into the zone. So he couldn't find that sweet spot where he was focused on his running and he felt that he was running his best race. He just didn't get into that state. He couldn't get into that zone.
Yeah. And you know what, Andrew? I was thinking many of our listeners could use this expression maybe in regards to a test, right? Like when you're taking a test and if it doesn't go the way you wanted, you prepared, much like the character in our example with the race. They prepared, but maybe they didn't sleep well the night before and they just couldn't get into the zone of the test, It's just the headspace, right, was off. So that could be used in that situation.
I've been there many times myself.
Me too.
Suzanne, let's listen to one more example using this expression to get into the zone or in the zone, and then we'll move on to the second expression for today.
Sounds good. Hello?
Hey, Sarah, it's David. I was just wondering if you want to grab coffee this afternoon. Are you free?
Oh, yeah, I would love that, really, but I'm writing this paper for English class, and I'm really in the zone, so I don't really want to stop and grab a coffee right now. Sorry.
And no worries. Yeah, we can meet up some other time.
Yeah, when I'm done, I'll definitely need a coffee.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
In this example, we heard one friend call up another friend to go out for coffee, but she was busy writing her paper, and she used the excuse that she was really in the zone with her paper. And as we know, that can be difficult to write a paper for English class. So She was really focused and didn't want to interrupt her process or flow and decided to turn him down for a later date.
Yeah, and I understand this, especially when you're a student and you're in the zone. You don't want to stop and break your focus, right? That can be really difficult. So I think she made the right choice in continuing to work on her paper.
Yeah.
All right, well, Suzanne, let's move on to our second expression for today. It's kind of a fun one as well.
Yeah.
It is to get the juices flowing. To get the juices flowing.
Yeah. That is a fun one.
Much like the last example, we're relying on a keyword in this expression, and that is the juices.
Yeah.
We're not talking about fruit juice like apple juice or orange juice.
No.
What are we talking about? What kind of juice is this?
It's the creative juice,
Yeah.
right? It's your creative juices in your brain, in your heart and soul.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talk about the creative juices. And of course, this is not a real thing in the body. There is no fluid that controls creativity, but it's a metaphor that English speakers use quite often. And so when the creative juices are flowing or the juices are flowing, it means, well, pretty much the same thing, that you're in the zone, that you're concentrating, that you're focused, and that especially you're really quite creative.
Yes. Unlike the previous expression, this one has more to do with your creativity and your work and not so much with, like, say, a sporting event or, a physical activity. It's more of about a mental activity, I would say, or creative. Yeah.
That's a good distinction. So, for example, if we were to take a look at the two previous examples that we listened to, you could use it to talk about writing a paper.
Yes.
Say, oh, I'm writing this paper for English class. The juices are flowing right now. I don't want to stop. Because you're creating something, you're writing something, you're making something. But if we were to take the example of running in a race, and you were to say, oh, I was not happy with my performance because I felt sluggish and the juices weren't flowing, then that sounds quite strange, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're not creating anything when you're running a race.
Goodness, when you're running, we hope your juices are flowing inside of you so that you can physically move.
Right.
But
Your blood.
In this sense, right, we hope so. But in this sense, it really has more to do with the creative mind, your mental juices.
Exactly. And so anytime that you're making something new, you're writing something, or could be even working on a project or making a video or writing a song, anything like this, then we can use this expression to get the juices flowing or to get the creative juices flowing.
Yep, exactly.
Well, I think we should listen to a couple of examples using this expression. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
By the way, I've been meaning to ask you, how is that script that you've been working on going? Have you finished yet?
Oh, man, no, I haven't. I still have like 1/3 left to write. It's just been so frustrating. I feel like my juices aren't flowing, like they've all dried up. It's been so hard to get it finished.
Well, just hang in there. I'm sure it'll come to you eventually. In this example, we heard two friends talking about a script. And one of the friends has been writing a script, but she is having some problems finishing the last third of the script. She can't seem to get the creative juices flowing. She said that she felt like those creative juices are all dried up and they're just not flowing very well. And Sue, this actually reminds me of the expression writer's block.
Yes, totally.
Writer's block. Yeah. When you're trying to write something, but the juices aren't flowing and you have no ideas about what to write, we can call this writer's block. So I think the woman in this example has writer's block.
I think so too. If you think of the creative juices are like, like a river, like a flowing river, right? They're juices, they're nice and supple. And then you have this block or this like dam in a way that stops the flow, right? And it just kind of, it dries things out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good metaphor, a way to kind of look at those idioms in a physical way.
Cool. Well, let's move on to the final example for this episode.
Great. I've been listening to your album on repeat all weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh, thanks.
Aren't you guys due for a new album soon?
Yeah, actually, we were in the studio jamming last night, and I gotta tell you, the juices were really flowing. I think we came up with 3 or 4 good new ideas that hopefully we can turn into some new songs. So yeah, maybe a new record is like right around the corner.
Wow, 3 or 4 songs. That does sound like the juices were flowing. In this example, a guy talks about his band practice the night before, and the juices seem to be flowing because they wrote 3 or 4 songs, halfway on their way to an album almost. So the creativity was really flowing. The juices were really flowing in the rehearsal.
That is right. They were able to come up with a lot of new ideas, create a lot of new ideas. And this is exactly the kind of situation where we can use this expression, the juices are flowing, when there's just a outpouring of creativity.
Yes, exactly. An outpouring of creativity. That's a really, really good way to describe the juices are flowing.
Suzanne, that brings us to the end of today's episode. I want to thank everyone for listening. And one more time, remind everyone about our website, culips.com. It's the place where you can download the study guide for this episode and also check out all of our past episodes. There's hundreds of episodes that you can browse through and listen to on our website. So definitely check us out on culips.com.
Also, search for us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube by just searching Culips English Podcast, and you will definitely find us. So that's CULIPS English Podcast.
That's right. We're all over the place on social media.
If you guys have any expressions or idioms that you hear that you would like us to cover on a future Catchwords episode, just send us an email, contact@culips.com, and we'd love to include it in some of our future episodes.
That is a great idea. Definitely send us your suggestions. We'll be back soon with a new episode, and we'll talk to you then. Bye.
Bye.